Hey, you found Learning to Surf, where I analyze my surfing to help you with yours. I'm Nathaniel Fife. Today, got a beautiful morning, some great waves. I'm going to be working on my back foot placement, trying to shift my weight back and get some nice carving turns. Here's some clips on the subject by Surf Simply.
Hi, welcome back to another one of Surf Simply's quick tips. I'm Rue Hill. So today's quick tip is about your back foot. When you're on top of the board, there's really a bunch of secret, hidden, invisible buttons all over the surface of the board. When you put your weight forwards, you can't really turn. Well, let me qualify that. You can do trim turns that move the board slightly to the left or right by banking it rail to rail, but what you can't do is do big carving change of directions. When you put your weight right at the back of the board, you can push the tail in and lift the nose out of the water, and then you can do a big carving change of direction. Simplistic way of thinking about your feet and where they are on the board is that your front foot's kind of like an accelerator, your back foot's kind of like your steering wheel. So the biggest problem that most people have when they're trying to do turns is very simply that they don't put their back foot far enough back. So you often need to stand with both feet further forwards, and only a few seconds before you know you're going to do a turn, that's when you'll move your foot back. If you ever try to do a carving turn and the board tips instead of turning, if you bog a rail and the board tips over instead of carving all the way around, that means that your foot probably wasn't far enough back. So practice when you're coming up to a turn, getting your foot right at the back of the board. And you know what? If you're experimenting with how far back to get your back foot, sometimes it should actually go off the back. You should slip off, because sometimes when you're trying to do something, you should get it wrong by not doing it enough, but also get it wrong by doing it too much. And if you're thinking to yourself, well, my foot's never slipped off the back of your board, that's probably a pretty good sign that you're not putting your foot far enough back. And
If you haven't subscribed to Surf Simply, definitely do so. They've got some content that's really helped me out in the past. So hopefully I'm going to be able to implement what they're doing here. Start the music.
So back to what I'm working on this session, and that is trying to shift my weight back onto the back foot. So you can see here, I step back and then I lean back and get that nose coming up. I kept trying this over and over again on a bunch of different waves and got the hang of it, kind of moving forward and back. It seemed though that every time I stepped back, I really stalled out and lost the wave. But I was kind of waiting until the wave was almost over to do it, so I wouldn't waste anything. So even here you can see I'm kind of stepping back, but the wave was pretty much over. Here's some waves I didn't catch. I got wiped out on here. I'm sitting a little bit too far in. I go for it and try to angle and just get flipped over. You can see my board shooting up in the air. This next wave is a pretty funny wipeout. So again, I got stuck too far in, but still went for it and get just like somersaulted and cartwheeled around. You can see this from a different view here. So here I'm taking it, going over the falls here. You can see me right there. And when I go over, I get flipped over. There's my legs sticking out. I flip again, there's my head. And I was just hugging the board and just getting flipped all around. I had a pretty good laugh about it. So as the session kept going, I kept trying for the waves. It was a pretty mushy day, so it was hard to catch them, and the current was pulling pretty hard. but did catch some and worked on getting that foot back. You can see I'm stepping forward and back, really trying to keep my feet active and shifting my weight forward and back. I think it's something that's really important to practice and to get good at, so that when the time comes to start working on a cutback or something with a really, you really need to get that strong carve to feel comfortable getting that foot moved back and getting the weight on the back of the board. Never in my practicing went so far as having my foot go off the end of the board, so I probably need to keep experimenting with it. Here's a nice wave where I was able to do some carving up and down the wave. Kind of still some trim turns. I'm not moving my weight that much here. And again, you got here's the last wave of the session coming up here. You can just see how I shift my feet around. It was a pretty good session. Hopefully I'll be able to make use of this in the future. Until then, please subscribe, have fun, and keep it real.